The overarching theme for Respond is this. Okay, you've gone through assess. You know what, Tim, I'm doing everything right. I know what hardware and software is in my environment, and I've put an asset value on that. I know how important it is to me. I know how important it is to my competitors. Check. I've layered my solutions and layered my protection to make sure I'm putting the most cost-effective solutions in place, and I'm putting them on the assets that are most sensitive to my organization. Check. In addition, I know that there's no such thing as foolproof security, so I have logs and I'm generating them onto a security dashboard, and I'm able to detect threats. Forget 150 days. I'm able to detect them in 150 seconds because that's when I want to know that my business is being compromised. This whole 150-day stuff, and it was a scary stat to say that was the time from the time a breach occurred to the time that the breach was detected. That wasn't even any remediation. That wasn't even anything. That's just somebody raising their hand. And it really lands home. And I think Joe said it best, that idea of if someone walked in and you didn't know them, walked into your office and plugged in for 150 days, you think someone would say something? I know they would here, and I'm sure they would in all of your environments as well. So that's what people are doing virtually. And that's what we need to get in front of. So, okay, Tim, I've gone ahead and I have the proper solutions in place there. But now I've found and validated an incident. If I can't respond, all of that was for naught. If a disaster, a breach does occur, and I don't have the trained professionals on staff, all of that else, all of the rest of that is undone. So that's what we're gonna talk about. So now I'm going to dial it into to the serious for a second. Assistant Director of the FBI Cyber Division said, "You're going to be hacked. Have a plan." Some people think he's rather pessimistic. Other people call him a realist. But the fact remains, we hope that we never have to dust off that DR plan and really figure out what it means to put our company back together. But we need to plan for every outcome and every potential outcome and every potential unknown. So that's why we have a plan. This concept of they are too big to fail, are you too small to recover? Who's the they? So we've talked about some of these very popular front page breaches. Target, Home Depot, Anthem. Target paid out almost $500 million, and that was quite a disaster for them. Home Depot, same thing. They lost, or they had 56 million records compromised. Anthem, well, I think it was something like 80 million. Office of Personnel Management, 20 million. These are huge, huge breaches, some of the biggest in our history. Let's focus on the Target one. What happened immediately after? There was huge fallout. There was fallout from people that didn't want to go to Target anymore. Stakeholder value went down. Shareholders get upset. Stock price goes lower for a couple of quarters. I think they felt the pain for 3 consecutive quarters. The case law starts going through. They get hit with fines. They pay out for breaches. How many people have been to Target within the last month? I know I have. I'm now shopping there again. Why? Well, I need certain things from there, and I would like to believe that they've put the things in place to make sure that this never happens again. So fast forward 2 or 3 years, Target's doing okay right now, but people aren't going to be talking about this in the same way. They're going to use it as a cautionary tale. But these are businesses that are too big to fail. They have paid out $450 million, and they're still doing okay. Home Depot have paid out $40 million. And when I needed to go get mulch this year, drove to my local Home Depot, put it in the back of the car, and spread it out in my lawn. A lot of us still may have Anthem as our insurance provider. These companies are too big to fail. What about me? I don't have $450 million. Does anybody? If so, let's talk after this. This is the concept of if something happens to my business, I may not ever open my doors. The statistics say that in the event of a breach for less than 1,000 users, 60% close within the 6 months after the breach. 60% of businesses. So this isn't that's going to sting for a while. This is, I'm looking for a new job, and the business that I've worked years to create is no more. Let's talk about the business impact. We'll take the Target one, and then we'll we'll dial it down to my size. Okay, there's going to be, you broke compliance, there's going to be those bills, and you're going to have your legal officer and your lawyers. I don't know about you guys. I think lawyers are pretty expensive, so I'm sure there's a ton of lawyers, and they have to defend themselves. And the PII, they have to go get credit monitoring for every person that had their data affected. That's actually the easy stuff. That's the stuff that I can quantify. And if I'm a big enough company, I can write a big check and make that go away. This is the one that we need to focus in on. The reputation. You all many of you are business leaders in your organization. Many of you are leaders in the space that you create. We spend years building the reputation with our clients, the credibility to continue to do business. And in an instant, or more specifically in an incident, all of that can be gone. That's something that is very scary when we actually think about it, because that doesn't have a number. Customer confidence and your credibility as a business, that's the line of business that we all share. My name and the handshake that I still give you is what is my good word, is what my reputation is. If I'm breached, that goes out the window. If I'm a financial firm, plenty of other banks want those clients' money. If I'm we talked about the nonprofit, the donor database. If that's breached, if something happens to that, these are people that aren't required to give you money in any way, shape, or form. So what happens the next year? They consider going to another nonprofit and donating to them. The statistic for here, and it's a loose figure, but 40 to 60% of customers either do leave or strongly consider leaving a breached organization following a breach. If you woke up tomorrow and 60% of your customers were gone, what would happen to your business? Maybe you could limp through, maybe you couldn't. For a lot of us, that would close our doors. 60%, you wake up tomorrow and 60% is the fallout for reputation. So what do we need to be able to do to limit this impact? You can't stop everything, but we can really try to limit it when it comes through. I'm going to talk about this concept of the 3 R's. If I could call this stage the 3 R's, I would have. Unfortunately, just based on the way everything looks, I only got one word, so we called it respond. The 3 R's, respond, remediate, recover. If you can do these well, you're going to be in a good position for any event that comes through. Environmental, man-made, technical, you're going to have the capability to respond. Respond. Having a plan to respond effectively to incidents as they arise, and the resources and expertise to do so with confidence. 2-part. Respond effectively to incidents. We just had the detect slide up here. If you have detection tools in place that you can identify it early, good for you. That's even better. That allows you to detect incidents in real time. But if you then don't have the resources and expertise, either internally or through a partner, to be able to respond to those and to be able to do so with confidence, you're going to be the security monitor. And you're going to have great information that you can act upon. Remediate. The active process of correcting an undesirable situation or repairing one that is deficient. In a lot of these, the goal is finally root cause analysis, to fully eradicate whatever the incident was, is to remediate it. This can be a patch that is applied. This can be wiping a system that was patient zero, as it will, for a virus in your network that you've disconnected and you're eradicating in that way. To remediate the incident stops it in its tracks. You respond, you remediate, and what we hope we never have to do, but we need to be prepared for, is to ultimately recover. The process of returning to normal state of business operations. If IT, let me ask everyone a question. If security is not an IT problem, what is it? It's a business resilience problem, isn't it? So if my goal of everything is to return to a normal state of operations, why would I want to do that as quickly and efficiently as possible? Because that's the only time I'm making money. That's the only time that I am not feeling a financial loss as the seconds tick off on the clock. So the process of doing that is recovery. Recovery comes in a number of different ways. If it's really bad, we're looking at reaching out to those off-site backups, those image-based backups that we take and we store off-site. We do that for a reason, because at some point we're going to have to pull the red button and in case of emergency, break glass. Outcomes. So the outcomes of respond, and you'll see how it ties into the 3 R's. Activities are performed to prevent expansion of an event. Sounds like respond to me. Mitigate its effects, remediate. And return to normal operations, recover. A couple of quick solutions here. An incident response program, having a way to be confident in knowing you have the expertise on the other end of the phone or internally to be able to deal with these changing threats and these incidents. Continuity planning, impact analysis, disaster recovery planning. These are more strategic documents, but the goal of them is to ultimately, if you have to use these plans, to be able to recover from them. Forensics investigations and remediation. If you start here, that's not the best place to start in this sisal wheel, if I'm being completely honest. But that means that this is post-breach. And what you're trying to do is forensics investigation to find out who did what, when, and where, either for a legal case or some sort of chain of custody or something like that, or just for your business because you don't know if you've eradicated it yet. You don't know if you've fully remediated the issue that has occurred until you go through this type of forensics investigation. Vulnerability remediation activities. So anytime that there are vulnerabilities that exist in our environment today, and when we scan those, when we find those, the easiest way is to just close those doors. Find the right person with the right skill set to update the firmware, apply the patch, do whatever needs to be done to close those doors before they become big problems. And we talked about the concept of managed remote backups, image-based backups that are stored off-site, that if you need to, that is your last line of defense. That means we could not eradicate it, we could not remediate it, and we're having to pull the ripcord. And that ripcord is going to get us back to a functional state. It's going to take some time to do that, but the concept of managed remote backups that are stored off-site, image-based, is one that we need to constantly remember.